You weren't lied to about inflation. You were lied to about how money works. Because here's the truth. The government didn't print your money. It borrowed it into existence. And honestly, the moment you deposit a dollar, that dollar is already being lent to someone else. Today, I'm going to show you how your money doesn't exist the way you think it does, and why that misunderstanding is keeping millions of Americans broke. In the next few minutes, I'm going to dismantle 3 myths. That stimulus checks were free money, that hyperinflation only happens when you print dollars, and that your money is safe just because it's sitting in a bank. By the time we're done, you'll know exactly how dollars are manufactured through debt, how they vanish through contraction, and most importantly, how to protect yourself from the silent wealth drain happening right now. And if you've ever asked yourself, where did my money go? Don't worry. By the end of this episode, you'll know the answer. By the way, hit follow before someone calls this video financial misinformation. You weren't lied to about inflation. You were lied to about how money actually works. Because here's the truth. The government didn't print your money. It borrowed it into existence. And the moment you deposit a dollar, that same dollar is already being lent out to someone else. Today, I'm going to show you how your money doesn't really exist the way you think it does, and why that misunderstanding is keeping millions of Americans broke. I'm going to break down 3 dangerous myths. Why stimulus checks were never free money, why hyperinflation isn't caused by printing, but by confidence collapse, and how money today is loaned into existence and can vanish just as easily. And then I'll show you how to protect yourself from this silent drain on your savings using strategies the wealthy already understand. So let's start with the biggest myth. Stimulus checks were free money. When President Trump floated the idea of $2,000 stimulus checks funded by tariffs, people celebrated like Oprah was giving out Teslas. But here's the reality. Total tariff revenue this year is just a couple $100 billion. A $1,000 check to every American would consume nearly all of it. And despite record tariffs, the United States still ran a deficit close to $2 trillion. Meaning those checks weren't paid with surplus. They were paid with debt, borrowed against your future taxes, your children's taxes, and your purchasing power. Free money from the government is like free drinks at a casino. You'll pay eventually, just not when you're sober. When we think hyperinflation, we picture Zimbabwe's $100 trillion bills or German wheelbarrows of cash. But here's the catch. That was old world money printing, physical currency. Today, the United States doesn't create money with printing presses. It creates dollars with loans. The total US money supply, or M2, has crossed $22 trillion, but only about $3 trillion of that actually exists as bank reserves or physical cash. So where did the other $19 trillion come from? When you deposit $1,000 at a bank, you think it's your money. But here's how it actually works. So the bank keeps a small reserve, then lends out the rest, for mortgages, auto loans, and even government debt. That loaned money gets deposited somewhere else, and then that bank lends it again. This process is called rehypothecation. $1 used as collateral, over and over. Meaning your bank account balance isn't a reflection of stored wealth. It's a reflection of circulated debt. Go ahead and smash that like button now, before your bank lends it out too. Alright, so let's talk about the inflation-deflation cycle. It's honestly the real trap most of us don't see coming. Every loan that's made actually creates future demand for more money, since it has to be repaid with interest. So basically, borrow today and you inflate the money supply, but when you repay tomorrow, you deflate it. And this, folks, is why we never get steady inflation. Instead, we get boom, then bust, and then, a bailout. Just look at the Great Depression credit bubble, then a deflation crash, and finally, a government rescue. 2008, Yeah, same story. 2020, same story again. And 2025? Honestly, we're just waiting for the next shoe to drop. So, why does any of this matter to you? Well, here's the thing. Most Americans are actually lenders to the US government without even realizing it. Your 401k? It's packed with treasury bonds, money market accounts. They're backed by T-bills, high-yield savings. Yep, same thing. So, while you might think you're playing it safe, your savings are actually helping Washington refinance its own balance sheet. Congratulations, you're a government bondholder now. Too bad they forgot to mail you the luxury office and pension plan, right? So, how do you protect yourself? Here's a real strategy. Focus on assets that don't just vanish when the debt cycle turns. Gold and silver, for example, tend to hold their value during currency debasement. Bitcoin and other hard digital assets are definitely volatile, but they're outside the traditional banking system. Stocks, especially companies that can raise prices with inflation, can also be a good bet. And real estate with fixed-rate debt? Inflation actually erodes the loan, while your property value can rise. Look, this isn't about beating the system. It's about not getting erased by it. So follow me now, before financial education becomes a premium streaming subscription. I told you at the start, you're not broke because of inflation. You're broke because of how money's created. And now you've seen it, dollars aren't just printed, they're borrowed, multiplied, and sometimes they disappear. Was this helpful? Drop a comment below and tell me what you want covered next. Thank you so much for watching. Check out our Money Tree and Me profile for more helpful financial literacy videos. Money Tree and Me, providing better security and ensuring better lives.